Xi Jinping's story is deeply intertwined with China's tumultuous history. Born into a prominent revolutionary family, Xi experienced both privilege and hardship in his early years. His father, Xi Jinping, a renowned Communist Party official, faced political persecution during the Cultural Revolution, an experience that profoundly shaped Xi Jinping's worldview. Despite the upheaval, Xi rose through the ranks of the Communist Party, holding increasingly important positions in various provinces. His pragmatic approach and ability to navigate China's complex political landscape earned him a reputation as a capable and decisive leader. In 2012, Xi Jinping assumed the presidency, marking the beginning of a new era for China. Xi Jinping's leadership style differed markedly from his predecessors. He consolidated his power rapidly, emphasizing party discipline and cracking down on corruption. This approach, while praised by some for restoring order, raised concerns about the centralization of power and potential for authoritarianism. Nevertheless, Xi Jinping's grip on power seemed absolute, setting the stage for a transformative period in China's history. Central to Xi Jinping's vision is the Belt and Road Initiative, spanning Asia, Africa, and Europe. Launched in 2013, it aims to revive ancient trade routes and establish new economic corridors. The scale of the BRI is unprecedented. China has pledged trillions in investments, funding projects worldwide. However, the BRI has also drawn criticism and concerns. Concerns about debt trap diplomacy have been raised. Under Xi Jinping's leadership, China has continued its remarkable economic transformation, albeit at a slower pace. The country has shifted its focus from export-driven growth to a more sustainable model, driven by domestic consumption and innovation. Xi has emphasized the need for economic reforms to address issues such as income inequality, environmental degradation, and financial risks. One of Xi's key economic initiatives is Made in China 2025, a strategic plan aimed at transforming China into a global leader in high-tech industries like robotics, artificial intelligence, and aerospace. The government has poured billions of dollars into research and development, supporting domestic companies and attracting foreign investment in these sectors. Despite these efforts, China faces significant economic challenges. The country's rapid growth has led to widening income inequality, a shrinking workforce due to an aging population, and mounting debt levels. Moreover, trade tensions with the United States and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic have created uncertainties for the Chinese economy. Xi Jinping's rule has been marked by a significant tightening of control over information and freedom of expression. The Chinese government has implemented sophisticated censorship mechanisms, blocking access to websites and social media platforms deemed politically sensitive. The Great Firewall, as it's commonly known, effectively restricts the flow of information into and out of China. Surveillance technologies have also proliferated under Xi's leadership. Facial recognition cameras are ubiquitous in major cities, monitoring citizens' movements and activities. Artificial intelligence is being deployed to analyze vast amounts of data collected from social media, online payments, and other sources, enabling the government to track and monitor its citizens on an unprecedented scale. These measures are justified by the Chinese government as necessary to maintain social stability and prevent the spread of harmful content. However, critics argue that they stifle dissent, restrict freedom of expression, and erode privacy rights. The tightening control over information has raised concerns about the shrinking space for civil society and independent voices in China. One of the most contentious aspects of Xi Jinping's rule is the situation in Xinjiang, a vast region in northwest China home to the Uyghur Muslim minority. Since 2017, the Chinese government has detained an estimated 1 million Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities in internment camps, officially called vocational education and training centers. Reports from survivors, human rights groups, and independent media outlets allege widespread human rights abuses within these camps, including forced labor, torture, political indoctrination, and suppression of religious practices. The Chinese government denies these allegations, claiming that the camps are necessary to combat terrorism and extremism in the region. The situation in Xinjiang has drawn international condemnation, with the United States, Canada, and several European countries accusing China of genocide and crimes against humanity. The United Nations has called for independent access to Xinjiang to investigate the allegations. China, however, has rejected these accusations, maintaining that its policies in Xinjiang are internal matters and necessary to ensure stability and security. Xi Jinping's administration shapes society through social engineering initiatives. These efforts promote traditional values, patriotism, and national unity. The social credit system assigns scores based on behavior. Points are deducted for negative behavior like traffic violations. High scores lead to benefits. Low scores result in penalties. Critics see it as a tool for mass surveillance and control. Under Xi Jinping, China projects its economic and military might globally. This rise challenges the US-dominated international order. Xi advocates for a multipolar world order. China strengthens global economic ties, especially in Africa and Latin America. It expands its military presence, notably in Djibouti and the South China Sea. This assertiveness leads to tensions with neighbors and the US. The relationship between the United States and China is arguably the most consequential bilateral relationship in the 21st century. Under Xi Jinping, this relationship has become increasingly complex and fraught with challenges. While the two countries share common interests in areas like climate change and global health, they are also strategic competitors with fundamentally different political systems and values. Trade tensions have been a major source of friction between the US and China. The Trump administration imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, accusing China of unfair trade practices, intellectual property theft, and forced technology transfer. While the Biden administration has taken a more measured approach, it has maintained many of the tariffs and continues to express concerns about China's economic policies. Beyond trade, the US and China are also at odds over issues like human rights, Taiwan, and the South China Sea. The US has criticized China's human rights record, particularly its treatment of Uyghurs in Xinjiang and its crackdown on pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong. China, in turn, accuses the US of interfering in its internal affairs and attempting to contain its rise. Xi Jinping's decade in power has been transformative for China. His rule has seen significant achievements and controversial policies. Economic growth and poverty alleviation have been notable successes. Initiatives like the Belt and Road have expanded China's global influence. However, increased censorship and a crackdown on dissent have drawn criticism. Policies in Xinjiang have faced international condemnation for human rights abuses. As China enters a new era, its future trajectory remains uncertain. The country faces a multitude of challenges, including a slowing economy, an aging population, environmental degradation, and rising geopolitical tensions. How Xi Jinping navigates these challenges will determine China's course in the decades to come. One of the key questions is whether China will continue on its current authoritarian trajectory, or whether it will embrace political reforms to address concerns about human rights and freedom of expression. The outcome of this internal struggle will have profound implications for China's domestic stability and its relations with the rest of the world. Another key factor is the US-China relationship. Whether the two superpowers can manage their rivalry and find ways to cooperate on global challenges like climate change and pandemics will be crucial for global stability and prosperity. The decisions made by Xi Jinping and his counterparts in Washington will shape the future of this complex and consequential relationship. Xi Jinping's leadership has had a profound impact on global geopolitics, ushering in an era of heightened competition and shifting alliances. China's rise as a global power has challenged the established international order, prompting a reassessment of alliances and strategic priorities among nations worldwide. One of the most significant consequences of China's rise is the intensification of strategic competition with the United States. This rivalry has manifested itself in trade wars, technological decoupling, and military buildups in the Asia-Pacific region. The US and its allies are grappling with how to respond to China's growing assertiveness, while seeking areas of cooperation on shared challenges. China's growing economic and military might has also led to a reassessment of alliances among other countries. Some nations are hedging their bets, seeking to maintain close ties with both the US and China. Others are aligning more closely with one side or the other, depending on their strategic interests and values. This realignment of alliances is reshaping the geopolitical landscape and creating new dynamics in international relations. Xi Jinping's China is a complex entity with remarkable achievements and profound challenges. China has made strides in economic development, poverty reduction, and technological innovation. However, concerns about human rights and freedom of expression persist. China's assertive foreign policy raises concerns globally. Subscribe for more.